and they played all different. They played all, and all the kids, my Yankel Klein, all my friends. I went into his Torah. I didn't understand one word. I just liked looking at him. He was such a Gedalia. And then he came to my house one Shabbos, and he came for a Shabbos to my house, and there was a Yid by the name of Reb Moshe Groeneman, who was a Breslov chassid that was very, very sick. You ever heard the name Moshe Groeneman? He was in the hospital, and he walked. He was not a well person, Reb Gedalia. He walked from 43rd Street and 16th Avenue to my Maimonides. It was a Mahalach. He went halfway Shabbos afternoon, and he remembered that he forgot to say thank you to my mother. He realized he's not coming back. So he walked back to say thank you, and then went back to, this is one of the stories, my mother says this story all the time. He was, but I had a Murdig Mashiach at him. I didn't understand anything. I used to ask, when he came to my house for Shabbos, I remember, I would ask him questions. I even remember one of the questions I asked him was like, baby questions, but the way he answered me was like, I asked him the biggest question in the world. He was loving, very, very loving. And I felt a very connection. Anyway, when he passed away, Reb Eluzer came the first time, I was like, okay, because my father was crying. After Reb Gedalia passed away, my father was saying, now I don't have anybody. I had a Rebbe, I don't have anybody. And I was stupid. I should have used them out. And it went into my head, words that my father said, that I was stupid, I should have used them out. So I said, I'm going to use it. I'm not going to be like my father. I'm not going to do that stupidity. Believe me, first I'll tell you, fast forward, I was stupider than my father. My father got a lot more from Gudai than I got from Reb Eluzer. But I did have a kesher with him. He was my Rebbe, for sure. He was my Messiah Kedushin. And I have a lot of stories with him. I am a big chutzpah, and I had, which in a way works l'toivosai, because I was able to I challenged him a lot. We would have a lot of debates and a lot of arguments. He was always right, but I pretended that I wasn't makabel, or I really thought I wasn't makabel. Now I'm starting to see what a fool I was. But he was a very special person. He was a special human being. Before Breslov Chazad, he was about midas. His midas were like everything. He was so meyushevdig. I don't think I saw him many, many times. Buddy, you've seen Reb Eluzer many times. Did you ever see him not? I've seen him angry also, but with Ishav Adas. I never saw him. I never ever saw him not say something just like that. He watched his words. He counted his words. I had many stories. I had one story with him when I was 17 years old. So then I came to 16 years old. I went to Breslov Yeshiva. I went to Tzfas. I didn't have family, so I went to Tzfas for Shabbos. That was all I knew. Nachal Neveya, that was my, as growing up, that's all I knew. I went to Tzfas for Shabbos, and I went to Reb Eluzer. I used to go to him, and I would go, I would stay there for Shabbos, and Sunday, before I went back to Yeshiva, we had an off Shabbos, so he didn't have to be back till Sunday night. I would stay in the morning. We would, Matzah Shabbos, we'd go to his house, we'd bring his mirrors, and he would talk, but I didn't get the opportunity. Sunday was the time where the Bachrim went to talk to him, and I waited online. I went to talk to him, and like after 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever the time was, he would say all the time, Zol Deibish to helfen, and you knew that's closure. That's when Zol Deibish to helfen was the thing. So that was like the goodbye, okay, and everybody walked out. I remember with Shabbos Chanukah, was like the third or fourth time or second or third, I don't remember how many times, but I was there multiple times. And after 5-10 minutes, he's telling me he's Zol Deibish to helfen, and I said, I'm not finished. I didn't finish yet. And I started crying. I said to him, my father told me that your father would sit with him for hours and listen to his problems and talk to him. And you, every time I come, I feel you're rejecting me. You're pushing me away. So, and I said, I don't want to hear the words, Zol Deibish to helfen. I said, I was crying. I said to him, I came because I have problems. I want to talk to you my problems. So he apologized. He told me that really, really, He made me wait. He said he had to put on tefillin, and it was shkia. He put on 3 pairs. He put on another pair of tefillin. He put on shemush rabba. So he said I have to put on tefillin, but after I put on tefillin, I'll wait for me. From that, I was 17 years old, and he died 5 years ago, so I was 49. So from 17 to 49, how many years is that? 32 years. I went to, I don't know, a lot of times. I don't know, over 100 times since then. I don't think he ever closed I had to be the one to close. Whenever I sat with him, he never closed the conversation. He never said the words, Zol Davish Dalvin. That's a godless of a person. That's a god. He remembered my trauma, my thing. He accepted it from a 17-year-old pisher. You understand? And he's running a community, building a community, and I come in like I'm the only thing that's on the world on his mind, and he's got to give me the time. That was one story that really, really stood out with me about his godless of midas. I many times asked him advice, and I spoke to him about many different things, and I was always trying to get the Shia. I would always try to get the EBGB answer. You know the EBGB answer. You know, EBGB means you wanna, the guy with the telephone in Himmel that's gonna tell you. And he never ever. By the way, his derech, and I think anybody who knew him, with me for sure it was like that. He never told me what to do. I would ask him a question. He never said, do this or do this. He always left you space to make choice, to have free choice. And he would talk out the tzdadim, he would tell you the thing, and you were able to tell from the way he was talking out the tzdadim, this is what I think. I asked him about naming my kids, what name, this name, that. He never told me this is what. When I told him this is what I want, he would tell me, okay, it's good, or you should be Moisef a name. He didn't tell me ever do this or this. I had a money story with him once that was the last year that Beryl Kremer was running Oman, and all the years Rabbi Yankov Meir was behind him, and the money was coming pretty much from Rabbi Yankov Meir, from I forgot the guy's name. Who was the guy then? Right, Mermelstein was running it then, and he got the money from there. But it was last year that he was at the end he resigned or whatever. They kicked him out. Whatever happened. And it was Erev Rosh Hashanah, it was like 3 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. It was right after he got his transplant. And I don't think he even went. Oh no, he ended up going. He did go. And anyway, so 3 weeks before Reb Eluzer, I get a call from Uzi, then at the time was the thing, I get a call. Reb Eluzer asking you to come down. Come down. He said, Vusat Zama de Rebbe's Rosh Hashanah. I said, what do you mean? He said, we need $300,000. And otherwise, they're not going to put on the lights. There's not going to be electricity. And we don't have anything. So I said to Reb Eluzer, okay, what do you want from me? He says, we have to be nice about we have to, it's the Rebbe's Rosh Hashanah Mamish. That's one thing I can be made every Rosh Hashanah. No matter who was running it, he was daikening about Rosh Hashanah. Always about what's going to be about Oman Rosh Hashanah. He was always involved in running. Anyway, I'm married with my wife. So anyway, I came home. I told him, my wife, I don't know, Reb Eluzer called me. I got to help him. And I don't know what to do. At the time, I had just refinanced my house to be able to do construction in my house. And I had a few $100,000 to be able to, that I got from the mortgage, but it was all designated to refinancing my house. So my wife said to me, so what's the question? Reb Eluzer needs the money. You got to give him the money. I said, huh? We're building a house. The Rebbe's Rosh Hashanah, you're not going to give the... So I went back to Reb Eluzer.
1 second. Who's your wife's father?
My wife's father is Yosef Tukachinsky. Yeah.
Shvuger.
Who's Tukachinsky?
Shvuger with Reb Eluzer.
Yeah, my shviger is Reb Eluzer's sister.
Charlotte, that's Jewish.
So I went back to Reb Eluzer, and he said to me, so I told him, listen, he says, give it, I take achrayus. I take responsibility. Yeah. Afterwards, Beryl was in a really hard situation. And it was getting difficult to get the money out. And pinged, you want to get crazy? I got a stop order a week, or either a week before, a week. My wife will remember exactly. I got a stop order to do the work. And it took 6 months to take off the stop order. So for 6 months, I was running after the money, trying to get the money. And it came 6 months later when I was ready to do it, and he wasn't able. They were going to give me a property. I was offered Shiner's property. I was such a fool. Instead of the money, I should have taken the property. Shiner bought it. Do you know what the property is worth today? I had the hope, and much more than it was much bigger than the campus that Shiner's on. Melech Paksha was then involved, and he was telling me, take it. I'm telling you, it's an investment. And this. Anyway, whatever. Reb Eluzer ended up paying. Yeah. Reb Eluzer ended up. Now, I don't know what he did with Ber, but he was going through a very hard time. But every penny. I had another money story with him, and a different thing of Arvis. That I signed Arvis, and he back then I couldn't handle it anymore. And I remember it was Erev Chodesh and this, and somehow I ended up a Noman, and Reb Eluzer was also a Noman. Reb Eluzer told me about it. Rebbe Sin, I take responsibility, and he took the whole. I had done most of the payments, but there was still whatever was left over. He took over. So he was. Those were the Gashmis, the thing. But I think you learn more from. I'll tell you something. The only story I ever had with him, that he told me something that I felt was like what I always wanted, like the only time he told me was 9/11. 9/11. You were on the flight. You were with me on the flight. 9/11. Did anybody go to Oman on 9/11? Okay, so 9/11 was a crazy time. What? No, we went with Lot, Motzei Shabbos, and we drove. We drove from Warsaw all the way. It was the first time. Then we thought it was the worst. Remember? And by the way, we had the craziest trip. You remember the trip? We had a van from Lvov to Oman. Lvov to Oman is about 8 hours, 7 hours. There was no seats in the van. We sat on folding chairs. I don't know if you remember. Sat on folding chairs in the van. Boom, 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 boom. We got to Oman like 3-4 hours before Mamish before Yonah, and I went into Reb Eluzer, and my father passed away 5 weeks before the Chayov. My father passed away. I get there, and Reb Eluzer, the simcha that he had, he was Mamish. The simcha that I came, that we made it, and he made it through. I was davening for you. He tells me I was davening for you, and he takes me to the window. Crazy story. I'm telling you a story that happened. And he says, and he looks out of the window and he says, "You know why?" In Yiddish, he tells me, "You know why you had such a tiltal akosha, so that your father should be here. Dein Tata is due. Your father is here." That was the only time ever that he said something, and I looked at him. Okay, like he never. He never spoke like that. It wasn't his way of speaking. Your father's here. The tiltal akosha that you went through was that your father should be here. That's what those were his words. But then I had I used to come to Jack Klein, and he saw me coming. He would say, "Oh, Nachman, don't do this. When you come, the Rav doesn't go to sleep." And we would spend nights, mamish full nights, from whenever I came till Vesikin. I had a few times that I went, and Tzfas I had it a few times also. I would spend full nights. And he gave me a lot of petch. Let me tell you something. He was right before he got his lung transplant, a week before his lung transplant, I got a call from Uzi. The Rav wants you and your wife to come down. Okay, we come down, and he was really, really, really sick. What?
You were summoned.
I was summoned. A few times I got the summon. Yeah, I got summoned. So I came with my wife. He was very sick. He was so sick. He would have coughing attacks that were mamish. You felt like his neshama was coming out. Do you remember what he was going through? I mean, his emunah was that. If you want to talk about his betachan and his emunah, he told me, sick with an oxygen mask, mamish. And this time he was he couldn't. He started having a coughing attack. He couldn't stop. And then he says, ich kriech auf the gleiche Wand. Ich weiß nicht, was es ist. He was going crazy. I'm crawling on the straight walls. I'm crawling. I don't know what to do with myself. He went through a very, very, very challenging time. Anyway, so he said, and as he's there, he's talking to us, and he's giving us Musa, but not do his way of giving Musa. It was very loving, very, very loving, but very to the point. He got to his points, and he told me a few things and my wife a few things. And when we walked out, we felt that was his tzavatos. That was it. This is the last time. I thought for sure this is the last time I'm seeing him. And that Shabbat, that was Sunday night, that Shabbos, he was mamish. Anybody who saw it, he was mamish al safa mavis. I'm not a doctor to be able to say it, but a person, he was an unimaginable pain, but always miyushiv. And he would have a coughing attack, and he would go right back to where he was, as if there could have been a 5-minute coughing attack, and he went right back to where he was talking to you before, as if nothing happened. It's very interesting. The night that he passed away, so a friend of mine, I said, was involved. There was a whole thing that was happening. My friend, he was the last one to see him. I have a friend in Nichsefo. I told him, go speak to Eluzer. He went to Eluzer. He said he was very, very schwach, but he was on point. They were dealing with a big situation, a get and a whole crazy situation. He was completely on point. They left his house, and by the time they got back to Bnei Brak, they got the besura that he was nifter. So it was mamish, I think he was the last person that met him. But he said his Yishuv Adas, his son Gedalia told me that when he passed away, so when he started geisesing, so he was pouring water on him. He started touching him, and the last words his father told him was, "Don't touch me. You're not allowed to touch me." He knew, like he was conscious, completely. He was special person.
I said this morning that the day that he's nifter, he made a bracha very immediate to son. So the son ran to get the son. He goes, "No, shmek ganed. I already shmek the ganed."
Really? No, he was an oizgabed. I'll tell you another thing. He was an oizgabed, the person, and he was completely. If you ever heard him say Torah, he never was machadish. He only said. So I used to ask him many times. I asked him, and he told me, "No, let's listen to what the Rebbe says. Listen to what the Rebbe says. Torah afterwards, much as Shabbos, the way we work is Shalshudas. He would say over, and he would say his niggin. You didn't have to really even hear his Torah. His niggin, the way he said the Torah, you were in a Torah. Just you didn't have to hear what. It didn't make a difference what he's saying. A person that should talk with such bittul to the Rebbe. Anyway, he was definitely. I wasn't a Talmud, but he was definitely my Rebbe, and he was definitely my Rebbe, and he was Schusay Yogan Aleinu. Another thing is Koyach HaTfilah. You see his Koyach HaTfilah, but many times he told me once on, I forgot what the thing was, but he said, I davened for you. I don't remember what tefillah, but I said a tefillah for you 30 times. Something like that, 30 times to say. I don't say for myself 30 times, but he said I'm saying he was real. He was real. Everything about him was real. There was nothing, he was only looking for emes. You couldn't talk to him if you weren't talking to emesdik. You understand? He was just real, and everything he told you, he was always. I listen. I don't know if you see. You get the minute clips. They're great. I hear such depth now that I didn't hear then. Okay, yeah, it's the Breslov language, and I thought, okay, and I remember him telling me, "Was bist du so verdeiget? Sei nicht verdeiget." And then the famous story with your brother with the pajamas. That's like a classic story. He was while he was sick, so he stayed by Nachman house, and his daughter Ruchi at the time, she saw he was walking out to the bathroom or something. I don't know if I'm saying the story exactly. Say the story.
I don't remember something. She was wearing pajamas.
She was scared. She was embarrassed to wear. She wouldn't come upstairs. She was embarrassed. He saw her, and she was wearing her pajamas. She was embarrassed to see him. So he ran back upstairs. He called her back. He says, "Why?" He says, "Because I'm wearing pajamas." So he went back to his room and he put on pajamas. I walked out in pajamas. Pajamas. That's a godless of a person. This guy had enough on his head, and he was completely concerned with this. Ben Adam Lechaver was bar none. What? He did me. My not my children. My youngest. Well, he was the male. He came that morning and he.
Did he teach you how to calm down the baby?
No.
From Nachman on book that he was the male Mashvei, because usually the male all type club. But he was here, so he was mechaber him to be the male.
Yeah.
So he came the night before, and my wife and I were there. My share was there. And yesterday, I was listening. So in the room, they had some dates.
He was at a different level. We just didn't understand it, and but Baruch Hashem, we take the things that we got and we learn what.
The first Shabbos that he came to my brother's house, so Friday night, my brother Nachman didn't know what to do. Like he had his wife, his bunch of girls over, and like he wasn't sure like what to do with the women by this table. So he thought he said maybe they'll sit in the kitchen, the Rav will sit in the dining room, So the women were in the kitchen, and the Rav sat down in the dining room. And the Baba started singing Shalom Aleichem. The Rav says, "Where's your wife and kids? Where are they? She's like, "They're in the kitchen." Friday night, the family be together. Call them in. That's the way it was.
Yeah, he was Tmimos Pshitas. When we're learning the Torah of Tmimos Pshitas, it was a big chacham, but his nahagas was Kvod Hashem. Tmimos Pshitas. If there's someone that I saw this by, real Tmimos, he was a very, very special individual. He really cared about the Rebbe. He really loved the Rebbe, and he taught us how to be mevatel ourselves to the Rebbe. So take the things that we learned, give it over to the next generation, tell everybody that there is a way. We can be miyushiv. There is a way. He would tell me, I remember I came to him with a problem. I was challenged once. I was challenged many times, but I was challenged one time. I came to him with a problem. So he tells me, he gives me what he thinks an eitzah, but then he tells me, "As geschrigen zum Rebbeinu Shalom? Did you scream?" Yeah, Reisen Schrei. I remember Schrei zum Eibishten, Schrei zum Eibishten. And you would think that a guy, he was like this miyushiv person, says, "Geh Reisen der Feld and Schrei, Keule, Keules." And then he showed me LIKUTEY many times. The Rebbe Zogder. Oh, he was a bucky in LIKUTEY. I heard this, by the way. I'm trying to remember who I heard. I heard that at 16. He told me that when I was 13 years old, he says, "Kennst du die Torah auf den Namen?" He says, "Ben ich bin gefahren mein Bar Mitzvah, aber ich gewiss jede Torah, every name of every Torah, not the number of the Torah, every name of the Torah." And then he told me, "By 16 Jahr, aber ich kenn Shakla v'Taya and God." He would say Torah. I witnessed this many times, Baal Peh, and he would change it. Sometimes he would make even a mistake on the lashon kemat, say it exactly, but he would sit there with his eyes closed in front of a sefer, but he would say it Baal Peh. And he told me, he told me but I heard from others that was known, even as a bacha, he was learning Breslov Yeshiva, even as a bacha, that he knew it was known. LIKUTEY, he knew backwards and forwards, and everything that he said, he sourced in the Torahs. Either in anything that he said, he would show you. The Rebbe Zuktazoi, the Rebbe Zuktazoi, the Rebbe Zuktazoi. He was, Chaval al da'avda v'loy mishtakchen. Schuse yogen aleinu. Come.
I'll say one thing. When I was making my son's bris, I was looking for a mashpia, a rav, a kosher person to give sandra. I was so crazy about Eluzer that I was couldn't settle for any number two. And he wasn't here.
Right.
I called him a half hour before the bris. I'm like, what should I do? Who should I give it to? All I thought was him. He goes, any. I said, okay, I'm taking it for myself then.
You remind me that he told me, I wanted, he was the male by Dubi. He was the male. And he reminded me, so I told him, I want you to be the sandik. And there's a way to be sandik, the male could be the sandik also. So he says, no. So I said, I have no one else to give it to. So he says, you take it. He told me to take it. I took it. That was the first time I was sandik. Then I had Einik.
When his father died, so he passed away 38 and a half years ago.
Really?
Same age as Barab.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, you do. That's you. You find these things. Only you find these things.
Same day of the month. One
Okay, someone said a great idea. I like the idea. Reb Shia, somebody said that one of you guys said the idea. And it's so funny because this morning I did this with a different group. The tefillah on the Torah. Let's learn the tefillah. Let's say it with the way of learning and see together how do we see from the tefillah how Rav Nosson is being mevayed the Torah. We're not going to get too far, but let's see what we can get to. I am wandering, I think, bashvakim in the streets and the alleyways. Avaksha eis sha'ava nafshi. I'm searching for my love. Bikashti v'loy matzasi. I searched and I didn't find. Akumana. Let me stand up. Vasoivav ba'ir. And I didn't find it in the streets. So let me go into the city and search. El chali al harim. I'm going to go to the mountains. I'm going to pick up my eyes to far. Achapes va'avakesh. I'm going to search and seek. Ayei, where? And we're just talking about the Rav. You missed the whole. I missed you. You missed me. So, but you know what? But this is the nefila that's tachlis aliyah. That's the Yerida tachlis aliyah. Achapes va'avakesh ayei. Where are you? Eifayu. Ayei mekayim kavayda. Where is the place of your honor? Ayei eitzav tachbula. Where is the advice? What's tachbula? Anybody give me a good definition? Yeah, tachbula is tricks. Maybe it's better than tricks. There's a better word. That I should merit to find and recognize. Hashem. I'm wandering to seek Hashem v'loy matzasi, and I didn't find him. Chalatz mimeni ba'avonos harab. It was separated from me, from my great sins. Sheitatati ba'arba pinos. I went on all four corners of the world, trufa loy matzasi, and I didn't find any kind of medicine, any kind of trufa. Shavti elecha. I returned to you bevoishes panim, with shameful face. The shachercha keil be'eis sarasi. In the time of my tsar, what is l'shachercha? I got blackened. In other words, from the lashon of shah. I think no. What is it? That's what I think it is. I got so not asking. I'm so mevuyish that I'm black. I think I don't know. I'm not. What is it? Beseech, maybe. In other words, I really putting in effort is what he's saying. Kitzar v'marli ma'od, tzar v'marli ma'od. I'm in pain and it's so bitter. I'm in pain and it's so bitter. Lo yadati nafshi. I don't know. On panisi. Where do I turn? Ki istarta panecha mimeni, because you concealed your face from me. But to my gegi, what?
On Panisa we did Hashem go. He's like saying it to Hashem.
Yes. This whole thing is with saying. Oh, Panisa. Sorry, on Panisa. But to my gegi biyad avinoisa arabim vatzumim ma'od. And what's to my gegi? I melted from my sins that are so great and powerful. Yoisem echol yamim, more than the sand. This is Reb Nosson talking, Rabbi saying. Do you understand? Every time I do this, Reb Nosson is talking like this. Where are we? Reb Nosson. Oy va'avoy, oy ki haloi alki ein elikai bekirbi matzauni aroyes ha'elai. Because there's no godliness in me, that's why I befall all these bad things. Because of my great sins, my heart is crooked. And I'm verworfen to the most distant place from holiness. And that are called the filthy, dirty places. Until my heart got so fakrim and so confused and so fadarben and so destroyed. Until it got so crooked that it's crooked on top of crookedness. Layers and layers and layers and layers of crookedness. I can't carry it anymore. I can't tolerate it anymore. Woe and bitter and pain. V'och is krechts. V'avoy v'alalai. All the lashonas of oy v'avoy. Oily ma'oid. Woe is to me. Ma'oid al kol avoynois harabim. Shasisi ma'oidi v'adayim. From the time mi'oidi, we could say, is from the place of the oid mat. Maybe we could go back to Reish Pei Beis. Ma'oidi adayim as ada shalibi scharcha. Until my heart is completely dizzy. What? Surround. Saviv is scharcha, is schar. But it's, he's using the lotion. But really, what is scharcha in Hebrew? You know the scharcha, scharchoret, right? Aaron. What is it called? How do you say dizzy? Scharchoret, scharcha. Ashalibi scharcha. My heart is dizzy. It's confused. Azavoni koichi v'oinai gam ein. I don't even have light in my eyes anymore. My friends are yamoidu mineged nigi. They're standing in front of they're seeing my shame. They're seeing my negoim. And my close people, my family, my relatives, they're scared. They're distant from me. What should I say? How could I justify? God found my sins. Alfei alofim, veribe revovis, millions. Pa'amim b'li shir u'mispa. Va'ata ma yesh li oid tzedakah v'lizoik oid ala melech. So what do we see from this paragraph here? What is Reb Nosson teaching us? Besides the beautiful words that he had the nicest pen in the world, and halavai, we should be able to talk to Hashem the way he talks to Hashem. One paragraph like this. But what you see is that, this is what I saw today, is that the place of Ayei has to come from a real place of acknowledgement of where I am. I can't I could, surface level, say Ayei, and mistama, it works on some kind of a surface level. But the Rebbe is teaching you to recognize your distance, to go into real self-awareness, and look at the seder of how he's going into the self-awareness. I'm searching for you, Hashem, everywhere. Where did I search for you? Where did you search for Hashem when you said Ayei? Well, I said Ayei, even if I say, well, first of all, I don't say Ayei. And even when I remember the Torah to say Ayei, I finally say Ayei. What kind of Ayei is? I'm saying, please Hashem. We said this last time. Someone said the word was beautiful. That by the way, mamish. I've been using it since. I don't remember who said the word, but whoever said it's beautiful. I'm asking to ask Ayei, because I'm not even holding by really searching for you, because I'm so distracted. I'm so not ready to recognize my failures and my mistakes and my evilness and that came from my sveikas, my erurim, maharach Hashem Yisborach, that I'm not even ready to go in, because what do you mean? That I'm going to have to let go of me? It's all about me. Everything is about me, front and center. So Reb Noson's teaching us that the way of searching is to search within you. First he searched within the streets, and then the cities, and the mountains, and everywhere, and then he comes to himself, and he says, where am I? So the way to search is, we're going to search outside first, but the real search is internally. Where is Hashem?
Also in the Torah, it goes in the dregas of intensity.
We said we mentioned last week. I told you those are the three ayahs that correspond to the three things. I think. Anyway, but 100% that this is the process. Ayei is a process. Searching for Hashem is a process. We need to first ask that we should be able to really feel, and you're scared to really feel it. We're scared to really feel that where is Hashem, because it's an unknown. Because we think we got Hashem, even though we don't have Him. But I go to shul, I have shiurim kvuim, I'm a really good guy. I have Hashem. Hashem is here. I could have Him more, but I have Him because it's not really Hashem, because it's really you. It's really your kvod atzmai that's always navigating you, always. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I said this last week, but I think this came to me afterwards. I thought of like this: why is the nefila? To go back to the nefila tachlis aliyah, which, by the way, I'm now even more saying it more strong. I have more rayas to it. Yeah, I love it. It makes sense to frag me up because it's out of the box, out of the box. But anyway, I will say like this: forget about that point. But I thought about like this: where is the only place where sichloi v'chachmasei cannot exist? The only place that there's no sichle v'chachmasei is in the Yerida. The only place where I can have real kvod Hashem without kvod atzmai is in the Yerida. In the Aliyah, it's already kvod atzmai because I feel I got enlightened. I got something from the Eibishter. The only place where I really, really can only have kvod Hashem is in the Yerida. So the Mela.
But the truth is, the tzaddik, the more he goes up, the more it's like that Mishnah from the Hashem. That the more the king was the car of the kitty that threw the rock at him, he had more busha of the king. So
correct. Correct. But it's also a Yerida. It's not a Nefila, but it's a Yerida. It has to because of the awesomeness of the Eibush that he saw, he became more humble.
Right.
So that means he had.
Or that's called Akura.
What did the Akara cause? It caused me to go less kvod atzmai. What's a Yerida? What's the Yerida? The Yerida is the place where I failed. The Yerida is the place where whatever I understood. So in the lower madregas and not Veris, it's one year. But in tzaddikim and the higher madrega, the Yerida is that the place where I didn't get it. It's mati v'loy mati. I didn't get it. So the place, and that's the place where it could only be covered Hashem. The only place that it can be covered Hashem only is in the Yerida. Because the brain is not programmed to failure. The brain is only sichlei v'chachmasei could only be for success. So what does the brain do? It denies the failures. What's sichlei v'chachmasei that's going to bring to evil? Because you made a mistake. Now you don't own the mistake. You justify the mistake. I didn't make a mistake. And I justified the mistake. Then I fell into a failure. I justified a failure. There's one of two tools. Either I justify it or I run away from it. I deny it. There's no other way to go. When you're failing, a person doesn't want the feeling. And by the way, therapy says this, the Rebbe is saying it. I think the Rebbe, they take it from, everything is taken from LIKUTEY. But failure is the worst. Underneath all the negative feelings is the feeling of failure. Nobody wants to meet the feeling of failure because you're programmed not to. Your brain is programmed for success. So every time you meet failure, the Rebbe, why? So you're asking a good question. Why is there a challenge b'chlal of kvod atzmai? Ask a better kasha. Ask a Torah kasha. Why should I even be challenged with Kvod Atzmai? If, and you want to make the kasha starker, if Ba'asar Mamaros Nivra Oilam, and each Maima has a Gvul, and it only, what's the Gvul? That it's only able to give cover to the Eibishter, because something that doesn't give cover to the Eibishter, Kvod Yilach Alayeten. So why did the Eibishter make B'chlal? And even if you want to say the Maima doesn't a Maima, it's still a Maima. It's a Maima. So yeah, that's where you're getting the cover from. But let's talk about the 9 Mamaras, and we are one of the 9 Mamaras. Nasa Adam is a Maima. And we were created for one purpose, the purpose to give cover to Hashem. So Ibazai, why should there be, where's Kvod Atzmai coming from? Where are we getting this whole challenge of Kvod Atzmai if the purpose was just for cover? No? That's a question. Where is Kvod Atzmai coming from? So, again, I'm not saying Pshat. Again, no patchgevil. But I'm saying that the Rebbe says that the Maimar Sosom has killed all the Mamars. So that means covered the purpose, and the covered in the Maimar Sosom is also concealed. And that's why even the places that are going against the Eibush Tamam, the Bhakti Avodah, they can exist because it's coming from a place where the covered is concealed. So in Mela there's no gvul to the covered. So then there could be Kvod Atzmai, which means that every Kvod Atzmai is, everything that's Kvod Atzmai is really coming from the Maimar Sosom. So how does it work? What happened there? Because the Eibush put into the Bria this purpose of covered. And in the Maimar Sosom, the purpose of covered was completely concealed. So it's natural for us, when you ask who programmed us, we're programmed with covered. It's in us to have covered. We're all Narvas. We can bring the biggest cover to the Eibishter. We can serve that cover to the Rebbeinu Shalom. What's a servant? When the Rebbe says B'li lashgiach klal al Kvod Atzmai, why doesn't he say not B'li lashgiach klal like in Torah Vov? Tzarich l'mayit b'Kvod Atzmai l'harbas b'Kvod Amokim. In other words, what is he saying? B'li lashgiach. B'li lashgiach means the cover exists. It's there. I have Kvod Atzmai. But don't be concerned. That's not your motive. That's not the compass that's pushing you. What's pushing you? Kvod Hashem Yisbarach. Im yesh b'zeh Kvod Hashem Yisbarach. Yaseh ve'im lav lav. Not your covet is the how do you say the motor, the engine that's pushing you to do the ma'aser or not do the ma'aser. Anyway, I think we should do one more. We're 9:32 and is Ma'ariv already? So let's do one more piece here. Rebbeinu Shalom. You gave us promises. And you warned us many times. There is no such a thing as despair in the world. I want to say a word to Rabbi Kenig that I remind myself that I heard this from Lezer Cheshengrada, that the Rebbe says can yish is garnish for hand. So Rabbi said, if the Rebbe said that there's no yish, then in the dictionary, by the word yish, despair, mekasois. If the Rebbe said there's no such a thing as yish, mekasois, right? And you see every day you see people jumping off the bridge. People are that's the most severe yish, but we fall into yish 1,000 times a day, every day. So the Rebbe, he says, so what's pshat? So you see there is yish. If the Rebbe says this is nishdok and yish, there is yish. The Rebbe says can yish is garnish fahan means there's no such a thing as yish. It doesn't exist. So he said like this. It's a nice word. He said the person has bechira. He could jump off the roof and kill himself, or he could go into yish. But the Eibush does never meyayish on you. When we said that there's no yish, ain't shem yish ba'olam klal, never, the Rebbeinu Shalom is never meyayish on you. I think it's a beautiful word. Alkein, kol oid nafshi bi. As long as my soul is with me, efresh kapai, l'rachamecha v'l'chani noisecha. I'm going to stretch out my hands and my arms for your compassion, your mercy, and your pardoning. Ula yasa Hashem kechol nefloisav. Maybe Hashem is going to do with me like the wonder is v'yichadesh neflois chadoshos, and He's going to do new wonders. Ashaloi nivru b'chol haaretz, that was never created yet. V'yachzireni b'tshuva. Do you understand what Rav Nosson is saying here? That the Eibush is going to do a meifus shaloi al pi derech hateva, to be machzir mi b'tshuva lefonu b'emes b'leiv shom zakeni she'eske lechapes v'lidrosh ulevakesh oischa b'emes. Merit me that we should be zoicha to search and to look and to seek for you, be'emes ada she'eske limtzoy oischa b'heira, that we should find you very soon. Ba'ofen she'eske l'skar ve'lecha be'emes, so that we can get close to you. Azreini, help me ki alecha nishanti, because I am relying only on you. So Rabbi said we should go out with one thing here, that this Ayei, I'm saying this over and over. Start saying Ayei Mekoim Kavoidai in every challenge of Kavoid, because every challenge is Kavoid Atzma against Kavoid Hashem, and the only way you're going to really better yourself and evolve is by really saying, and start with Shoyla Mevakesh. Come to the place of Mevakesh and Mechapes. Come to the place of Vitzoyek, Mistayr, Misgageya. This is an Eitzah where the Rebbe is revealing you the side of the whole Bria, and he's telling you, use this Eitzah, and you're going to make yourself a new Bria.